If vaccinations were no longer a thing, just one case of any disease could turn into thousands in an instant. Without vaccines, children, teenagers, and adults are in serious risk of contracting highly contagious diseases, which is why I'd like for you to consider complete mandatory vaccination. After researching what vaccinations are and what they do, I feel as though I have the knowledge to inform you on this subject. Today I will be discussing what vaccines are and their importance, the impact immunization can have on people, and why all children should be required to be vaccinated by a certain age. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, childhood vaccines are now 90 to 99% effective in preventing disease. Vaccines help the body's immune system to protect it from infections and diseases. According to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, also known as the CDC, by getting a vaccination, you are putting an imitation virus or bacteria in your body. By doing so, your body creates new fighter cells that kill the virus or bacteria before it has time to harm your body. Once the virus cells are destroyed, your body is able to recognize the harmful cells and destroy them faster in the future to prevent diseases. Also explained by the CDC, there are 5 main types of vaccinations. There are live attenuated vaccines, which are living viruses that have been weakened somewhat so the body is able to fight them off easier. There are also inactivated vaccines, which are dead viruses added to the vaccine. Another type of vaccine is a toxoid vaccine, which weakens the toxins and before it puts it in your body for your immune system to fight them off easier. And the other 2 types of vaccines are subunit and conjugate. Subunit vaccines involve only parts of the virus or bacteria, so the body doesn't have to fight off a whole germ. It only has to fight off the needed parts for your body to become immune to it. And a conjugate vaccine helps to fight off different types of bacteria, ones which have coatings on the outside that are stronger to break and harder to break through. All of these different types of vaccines are used to fight off different types of viruses, which is why there isn't just one vaccine for everything. Vaccines are used to protect people from 13 different types of diseases. These diseases include mumps, measles, rubella, chickenpox, hepatitis B, diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, Haemophilus, polio, influenza, retrovirus, and pneumococcal disease. By becoming vaccinated, you are giving your body the best protection from all potentially harmful diseases. Many people think that they do not need to have their children vaccinated because if other people are vaccinated, their child is not in danger of getting the disease, or they think that their children can fight it off for themselves. But that's not always the case. According to Victoria Anderson, infectious diseases were once the leading cause of death before the creation of vaccines. In the early 1900s, 1 out of every 10 children died before their first birthday due to diseases that did not yet have vaccinations to prevent them. Since the creation of vaccines, that number has dropped to 7 out of every 1,000 children. After seeing that large of a difference, parents should want to vaccinate their children. If more parents decide to not have their children vaccinated, that number may start to rise once again. According to the College of Physicians of Philadelphia, throughout the history of vaccinations, there has been one disease that has been completely eradicated worldwide, and that is smallpox. Through the use of vaccinations and people being cautious about who they interact with, before getting vaccinated, the disease is no longer around. The disease that once killed a large population of people can no longer harm anyone. According to Dr. Linda Van Etta, in her video on vaccinations have saved more lives than any other medical intervention. If everyone were to become vaccinated from every possible preventable disease, multiple dangerous diseases could be completely eradicated or extinct from existence. But because some people choose to not vaccinate their children, there are those few people who can start an outbreak, causing us to go backwards in the removal of that particular disease. While it may take many years to completely get rid of all the diseases, it will be worth it in the end. But the only way we will ever get to that point is if everyone becomes vaccinated, so the chance of the diseases spreading is decreased significantly. After hearing how vaccines can help keep individuals and large groups safe and healthy, many people ask why they wouldn't want to be vaccinated or vaccinate their children. The United States has no law forcing people to become vaccinated for every disease. Most states only require vaccinations from 8 to 10 out of the 13 preventable diseases, and there are ways to get around those laws. If vaccinations can prevent people from getting sick and causing an outbreak, all 13 vaccinations should be mandatory for all 50 states. People choose to not have their children vaccinated for many different reasons. The main reason why they are allowed to not have their child vaccinated is because of religious beliefs. Other reasons parents don't want to vaccinate their child is because they think vaccines are dangerous and toxic and they are scared of the possible side effects. What they don't take into consideration is how dangerous the disease actually is. Here is a picture of a child with the measles. Why would anyone want their children to go through this? People who think that vaccines are dangerous and toxic do not understand what it takes for a vaccine to get approved by the FDA. Vaccinations would not be a thing if they did more harm than good. In order for something like a vaccine to become approved, it must go through multiple labs to test purity, efficiency, safety, and the amount of toxins. If any one of those things were not correct, the vaccine would not be approved. Parents and guardians should be required to vaccinate their children from every type of preventable diseases, and there should be no exceptions. All it takes is for one person to become affected by the disease for it to spread and until it affects a large group of people. A recent example of how this can happen, and happen very quickly, is the outbreak of mumps at Harvard. According to Ignacio Sabate, what started as one case of mumps quickly spread into 40 cases. When asked about the situation, Health Service Director Beria stated that students are not acting responsibly and need to be taking more caution when it comes to who they interact with. And while I agree that students need to be cautious about who they are around, they wouldn't have to be cautious if everyone had been vaccinated in the first place. If everyone had been vaccinated, there most likely would not have been an outbreak, meaning they would not have to be so cautious and nobody would have to worry about getting the mumps. Vaccinations were created to help prevent diseases. All it takes is one person to get sick for there to be an outbreak. With the information I have given you today, I hope that you will choose to be vaccinated and will try convincing others around you to become vaccinated as well. Today I have shared with you what vaccinations are and how they protect you, the impact they can make in your health, and why people should be required to be vaccinated. Vaccinations help keep the population healthy, which is why vaccinations should be mandatory for everyone. I hope the information I have provided you with today will encourage you to become vaccinated and will convince you to convince others that they should be vaccinated as well. Vaccinations have saved millions of lives over time, and it could save yours too.